A tutorial by LearnFast Studios.
Event handling. The change in state is called an event. In order to handle the events, we will have event delegation model in Java. In this model, there are few classes, abstract classes, and interfaces to handle events. To perform the actions when an event occurs, we require listener interfaces or some adapters. Let us see some of the interfaces we require. Mouse listener interface, mouse motion listener interface, and key listener interface, and action listener and item listener. This mouse listener is for the mouse clicked and mouse entered saying interface, and mouse motion listener will delegate the motion of the mouse, and key listener will help in knowing what key pressed or what key entered, etc. And this action listener is used to identify the action of button, and this item listener is used to know the action of a checkbox. Let us see the program. Take a class event handling example which extends applet. By using applet, we are going to write the program. As we are using applet, the class should be public. We know that when we want to use applet viewer, we need to include the applet tag in the comment. So let us write the comment section. And before that, as we are using applet, this applet class is in java.applet package. So we need to import java.applet package. And now let us write the comment. And applet tag means it have code name, that is code equal to class name, and height and width of the applet that you required, slash applet and comments close. Now let us take a button to show the action listener, and a checkbox to show item listener, and a text field to display some message on the applet. Now let us take the constructor. Let us take the init method, because an applet starts with the init method. So we need to write the init method in which we add all this to the applet. Before that, I am taking 3 variables to get the part that we have to print in this text field. So now let us write the init method. In this method, I am going to initialize all these components, that is button, checkbox, and text field. So b equal to new button of button. Here you can give any name which will display on that button. I give button itself. And now let us take checkbox and initialize it. C equal to new checkbox accept. Now take text field. T equal to new text field of some size. 30 gives to the size of the text field. Now let us set a layout. As we are using more than one components, we need to set a layout so that it not come one upon another. And this set layout is a method which will sets the layout for the container. Here flow layout will give a pattern from left to right and top to bottom. Now let us add listeners for this, and before that this I'm importing java.applet.event package because this events classes are present in this package. So I'm importing java.awt.event package. Now let us add a listeners for these components, and c dot add item listener of this. I'm using item listener, so I need to import item listener, and I will add action listener for the button. So I need to import action listener. While I am writing methods, I will show that. So for making the button, for making this applet to listen to the mouse movements or the mouse or key listen, so add all them. Add key listener of this, add mouse motion listener of this, and add mouse listener of this. This means represents the object of this item listener, but it is not implemented still. I will show it later. Now I am going to add all these to the applet. So I added checkbox and I added button and the text field. Now I am going to import this java.awt.star package because this flow layout is present in java.awt package. And now I am going to override the paint method, which takes the graphics as an object. So with this graphics class is in java.awt package itself, and now I'm writing it. I overridden the paint method. Now let us handle the events of this mouse motion listener and key listener and action listener and item listener. First of all, let us write item listener. Before that, I implemented item listener. Now the item listener refers to the item listener interface. That object will be passed to this add item listener of this. Now take the method. Item listener contains an abstract method called item state changed. So in this item state change, we can write something that when the checkbox is clicked, that thing has to happen. So there is a method called get state, which will show that whether the checkbox is ticked or not. Let us see. If c dot get state is true, that means if the checkbox is selected, then at this text field let us write a message. For that message I used cm. So for that I make a message checkbox selected, else checkbox is not selected. Now let us override the methods in this action listener. For that I need to implement this action listener. Now in this action listener we have a method called action performed. It is to be overridden. Action performed will take the object of action event class. So public void action performed of action event. And now this action performed is used to know the action of the button, whether it is clicked or not. In this method, I am going to set a message in this BM so that it will display whether it is clicked or not, as action perform method will happen when the button is clicked. So when the button is clicked, let us send a message called clicked. Now call repaint. In this repaint method, I will display these messages. So now let us implement the key listener. In this key listener, we have few methods to override. In this key listener, we have key typed, key pressed, and key released. These are the three methods we need to override when we use key listener. Let us see them. In this key listener, we can use a method called getKeyChar, which will return what key is pressed or clicked or typed or released. Let us see. I am overriding the key pressed method. In this method, I am going to give some text to this KM. For that, I am using a getKeyChar method. This getKeyChar will give you what key is pressed. So finally we will get key pressed A like that. And now I am overriding key released. In this key released, I am again using this getKeyChar method. And another method to override is key typed. And this also I am using getKeyChar method. Now we overridden all the methods in the key listener interface. Now let us implement the mouse motion listener. In this mouse motion listener also we need to override some methods. There are mouse moved, mouse dragged. So we need to override those two methods, mouse moved and mouse dragged. For that, to know the location, we have two methods, getX and getY. I am using these methods to know where the mouse is pointed at which X coordinate and at which Y coordinate. So now let us override the mouse dragged method. In this mouse dragged method, I am printing the statement where the mouse is pointed. This show status is a method which will show at the left side of the applet, left side bottom of the applet. Here getX will give the X coordinate and getY will give the Y coordinate. And mouse moved is another method need to be overridden. These two methods will take the mouse motion event object. And now I am again using this show status method. In that I am again asking the X coordinate and Y coordinate using getX and getY methods. Now I am going to use mouse listener. Now in mouse listener there are so many methods. There are mouse entered, mouse exited, mouse pressed, mouse clicked, mouse released. So when I implement this mouse listener, I need to override all these methods. It is difficult to override all these 5 methods, so I can use a adapter. As I am using adapter, I need not to implement the mouse listener. Let us see. I'm taking add mouse listener new mouse adapter, add mouse listener of new mouse adapter, that is I'm passing this mouse adapter object for this mouse listener. In this I'm writing a nested class. In that I'm overriding my required method. I'm overriding mouse clicked method. In that also I'm getting x and y coordinates with the getx and gety method, and I am displaying at the bottom, so I used the show status method as I need to give this at init time, so I will replace it with this. So I will replace it few minutes later. Now let us use the drawstring method to print this CM, BM and KM messages on the applet. For that I am using drawstring method with this G object, G dot drawstring of CM at x coordinate 25 and y coordinate 150, which means that the checkbox selected or checkbox not selected is displayed at this point. And another for to display the BM message, G dot drawstring of BM and 25 and 75, and another method to display KM message. Now let us keep this there. Instead of this mouse listener, I used this add mouse listener of new mouse adapter. It will reduce the time that we can use only the required methods. I said here so that you can know what is the use of this adapter. Now you can compile this by using Java C event handling .java and applet viewer event handling .java. Then you will able to see an applet appeared in which this show status will be displayed. So when you keep the cursor on the applet and you move it or you drag it, you can see it in the status at left side bottom of the applet. And when you press a key or you click at the button or you click at the checkbox, you can see the corresponding messages in this x and y coordinates. In this program, we have learned about different types of listeners and how to implement them. And are there any other ways to use these listeners instead of overriding all these methods? That is by using adapters. And how to handle events for the button, for chat.